Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my continuing lead up to the election videos where I discuss the state of the race for President of the United States of America and the battle for the United States Senate. Two issues I want to focus on today. We're not going to have a Senate prediction video today because the Senate races that are left that I have to do videos on are really the marquee races, and I need to see some more polling in them, and I need to see a little bit more as we get closer to the election. We're 19 days away, but there are still some big events left to happen. We have these two competing town halls tonight between former Vice President Joe Biden on ABC and President Trump on all of NBC's platforms at the same time, which, by the way, is a horrible disservice that NBC has done for the United States of America, capitulating to the Trump campaign's demands for competing town halls at the same time is absolutely just a horrible disservice by NBC because NBC will have it across CNBC, MSNBC, Telemundo, all of the streaming services that NBC offers that ABC doesn't have. ABC doesn't have two cable news outlets. They don't have a Spanish language outlet like Telemundo. They have streaming services, but they don't have the same things that NBC has. Now, they do have a streaming cable news service, ABC News Now, but its audience is much, much smaller than MSNBC and CNBC. So, just a preface there, but I think this is a horrible, horrible disservice by NBC. I think ABC did the right thing, and they had it first, too, by the way. But what I wanted to focus on today is two things that developed today. So, Senator Ben Sasse, a Republican of Nebraska, was doing a constituent call with constituents. And a constituent asked Senator Sasse why he criticized the president so much. And Ben Sasse went into where him and the president have policy agreements. And then he lit into Donald Trump in quite a big way. I know that I regularly criticize Donald Trump on this channel. That is nothing new. But I don't think I have ever heard, even from Democrats, such a well laid out, concise indictment and condemnation of Donald Trump than Ben Sasse delivered. Wow. If you want to go listen to it, there are plenty of places online to find it. I know the Red Hat Brigade is going to be very, very offended by this. They already are. But, woo-wee! And oh, by the way, Sasse doesn't care if the Red Hat Brigade gets mad. I can assure you of that. The other development is on the Georgia Special Senate race. This race has already been bonkers crazy, and I've covered the race in an earlier video. But today, Senator Kelly Loeffler received an endorsement that both her and Congressman Doug Collins have been coveting. And it is the apparent Congresswoman-elect from the 14th District of Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a prominent conspiracy theorist. She's a 9/11 truther. She believes in the all the other crazy conspiracy theories out on the internet. And just totally outside of the mainstream of Republican politics, and will be the most controversial member of Congress in history once she's elected. Mark my words, the Republican Party will have a real problem on their hands once she gets sworn into office. But Loeffler and Collins both had been angling for her endorsement, and today she announced her endorsement of Loeffler. And this is just wild that Loeffler has tied herself so much to the Green wing of the party. Interestingly enough, David Perdue, the other Republican senator who is locked in a tight race with Jon Ossoff, has not even associated with Green at all. He has tried to stay hundreds of miles away from this whole issue. But Loeffler and Collins were both angling for it. Loeffler got the endorsement. And it's just so wild that Loeffler got it, because when Loeffler was appointed, she was appointed as the safe pick to replace Isakson. This is the person that can get the votes of suburban women. She's, a moderate Republican from suburban Atlanta. That was a knock that a lot of the more right-wing members of the Republican Party in Georgia leveled against her. Some even used the dreaded term among conservative Republicans that she was a Rockefeller Republican, which in conservative and Republican circles is woo-wee. You might as well call them a rhino. But she has since pivoted to a much more extreme right-wing than most people assumed. And distanced herself from her former personal friend, Mitt Romney, and just a lot of other stuff. Introduces these crazy resolutions in the Senate, and I don't know how she's going to make that pivot after the general election to appeal to moderate voters, especially if Georgia votes for Joe Biden. It's not like Donald Trump is leading in Georgia by 10 or 15 points. This isn't 2004 or 2000 where the Republican nominee is running away with the state and she's only worried about a runoff because it's a jungle primary on election day. She's got to make the pivot in a swing state that Donald Trump may very well lose. And she's got from November 4th to January 5th to make that pivot. And she also may not know for several days whether or not she's in the runoff. It may be that close between her and Collins for the likely second place position. I think most people now assume that Raphael Warnock is going to be in first place on election day, and then it's going to be Loeffler and Collins. And I believe that's how it will play out. But it may not be immediately apparent on election night that it's Warnock and Loeffler. It may take a couple days, which is when she will be less time that she has to pivot. And during that time, she may have to take some absolutely ridiculous positions to shore up support from conservatives. So, that's one endorsement that I would just be like, she has gotten terrible advice from whoever her political advisors are in this race. But that's all I have for today. I will see you all tomorrow when we will discuss the fallout from these town halls tonight. Who knows? I may post an instant reaction tonight. Doubt it, but I might. I'll see y'all later.